What's up, everybody? Before we get started with our episode, we are very excited to shout out our first official podcast sponsor, Riverside. We've been doing this podcast for almost 4 years at this point, and over that time, we've tried out a bunch of different recording and editing software. After some trial and error, we discovered Riverside, and we haven't looked back. Riverside is an all-in-one podcast and video platform that lets you create content easily and quickly, including social media, clips, transcriptions, video marketing, webinars, and so much more. It records locally, bypassing poor internet connection to produce studio-quality audio. They even have an entire library of tutorials, which is called Riverside University, and that will allow you to unlock software's true potential. They also have an amazing support team that's been super helpful in our own transition off of other platforms, answering questions and troubleshooting any issues you may have. If you create content of any kind, either for fun or as a professional, or if you're looking for just a new audio video software to chat with your friends and family, do yourself a favor and check out Riverside. You can try Riverside for free at riverside.fm, or you can use the promo code BingetownTV, all one word, for 15% off. We'll leave the link and the promo code in the show notes. Once again, that is riverside.fm, promo code BingetownTV for a discount. Thanks again for Riverside for being an awesome service and sponsoring this episode. With that being said, you are here for part 2 of our recommendation episode, which was Hidden Gems. And this is part 2. We got 4 more coming at you. If you haven't listened to the first one, you just came upon this one, go back. You don't have to listen to them in any sort of order. You're all good. Again, we have Dave, Paul, Luke, and myself, Kathleen. Just to reiterate, our only criteria for our picks was it had to be a show that less than 3 people in your life have watched, aka Hidden Gems. So I am going to popcorn this to Luke. Since he went last in our first episode, he can go first in this episode.
Okay. So my recommendation for this episode is going to be one that I think I know 1, maybe 2 people. They might be on this podcast of who have seen this besides myself. I'll find out in 3 seconds here. But my pick is 2020 Dracula. It's a Netflix miniseries that is 3 episodes. And before I continue, Paul, have you seen this?
I have. No.
The only reason I pointed that towards you was because the same creators of the show Sherlock, which is one of my top 10, maybe 5 shows of all time, is the same creators who created Dracula. So it's the same style of episodes. If you're familiar with Sherlock, there are 3 episode seasons. Each is like an hour 20. This follows the same exact format, with the exception that this is always planned to be 1 season. So it's just part 1, part 2, part 3. So definitely falls under the Hidden Gems, not just because I don't know too many people that watch it, but the scores from the critics and the audience is a little bit lower. Could be part of the reason it didn't get marketed so well, but the IMDb is sitting at 6.8. And for Rotten Tomatoes, it's 71% critic, 62% audience. But I want to go back to the IMDb for a second because the 3rd episode, the finale, was received pretty terribly. Like, it was a 5.3. But the premiere was an 8.0. So it basically starts off really strong and then gets weaker. But there's a very important plot reason of why I can see it went that way. And I can't bring it up without spoilers. So I'm just going to leave it as the first episode's amazing. The second episode's amazing. The 3rd episode, it's a hit or miss, totally. So the easy soft pitch for what the premise of the show is based on the name of the show. It's a Dracula spin, just its own unique version of and take on Dracula, Count Dracula. I'm talking Transylvania, all of the garlic, everything that you could think of Dracula. They take their own spin, and that's what this show's about. But the reason that I love it so much is because of the main actor, and I don't think I've seen him in anything else, but his name is Claes Bang. I don't really know. Claes Bang is a great fucking name. And then the co-star is Dolly Wells. But Claes Bang is our Count Dracula, and this is one of my favorite performances across like anything. Like, he carries this show, and his performance alone is worth watching it because he's just so captivating. He steals every scene. His dialogue delivery is amazing. He was an A+ performance just all around. So if you like and are a fan of Sherlock and that type of writer and their style of cinematography, this plays right into that. And that's why I kind of was leaning into Paul, because I know you love Sherlock as well. But if you haven't seen this show, definitely recommending it for you. The only other thing I want to add is that the co-lead that I mentioned there, played by Dolly Wells, she plays the character's sister, Agatha, who's just this aggressive, badass nun who is the opposite side to Dracula. So it's like a very good back and forth, like her trying to figure out what's good with him and him just being Dracula, all that good stuff. And he crushes it. She's a good co-lead with him. So if you're a fan of just quick, dramatic binges, just 1, 2, 3 episodes and you're done and if you like classic tales of like Frankenstein, werewolves, vampires, that type of Penny Dreadful style of show or movie, this is exactly for you. And I would say that the Bingetown host that this kind of connects the most with would probably be Dave, Paul, and then potentially Jimmy. So this is one I would definitely recommend for you guys to watch. Maybe not Kathleen. I don't know. I think you still might enjoy it. But again, I still think it's worth just watching for the main actor's performance. He was fantastic.
Okay, let me jump in here and say Claes Bang, whatever his name is, great name. He is the villain in Bad Sisters on Apple TV, which was almost a contender for me in this. And he is the best villain I've ever seen in my life in a way that's Joffrey, Ramsey,
yes,
but no sci-fi, just awful human. Just like you want to kill him, you want to reach through the screen and rip his face off in that show. So as soon as I googled it, I gasped. I was like, play the video back because I literally did. I was like,
that's my Count Dracula, baby.
Skyrocketed to the top of the list just because. I mean, Van Helsing, Hansel and Gretel, like love all of that shit, like vampires. Get me in on that. So hell yeah. And from the reactions that I just heard about, his acting, you guys don't mess around when it comes to giving props. So I am definitely excited and hell yeah.
Totally.
I think this isn't can't miss for you specifically. Just because you can tell it's made by the same Sherlock people. They write dialogue and plot points in the similar way. Like it's just, it was good. And Alki binged it in like 2 days and he liked it. And that was recent. So he's the only other one I guess I know that watched it.
We need more miniseries in our lives, to be honest.
Like Watchmen and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like they just always do so well.
Yeah. So I'm going to popcorn over to Paul because I've been saying your name a lot. So let's take it home.
All right. So this next one, Dave threw out an anime in the first one. I'm going to throw out an anime now for my second recommendation. And this one's weird because it's kind of a hybrid anime/video game continuation. But I'm going to pick Cyberpunk Edge Runner. And this is on Netflix. Well, this is a hidden gem because I really don't know too many people in my life that have seen this. But I mean, the internet absolutely loves it. For the people that have seen it, they're very outspoken about how much they enjoyed it, at least. It has an 8.3 IMDb and literally 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's such a good story. They're 10 episodes, 25 minutes each, knock off 4 minutes with the anime intro and credits. It could be closer to 20 minutes flat. It is one season. They don't have any plans for a second season, not because of popularity, but because it has a really good, satisfying conclusion at the end, which, we love. We hate when stuff gets canceled. I talked about maybe doing, another show in universe, but just different characters. If you played the game, this takes place 1 year before the events of the game. And for those of you that don't know what it is, it's the year 2077, pretty much. The whole world is just completely technology. It is cyberpunk in a way that everybody is enhanced. It's goes so deep into the human enhancement / cyborg world. This world is rather dark with an emphasis on crime and a lot of the advancement technology being weapons as well. And the story follows this young guy named David. Dumb name, right? Who he finds himself,
Peg to differ.
Not falling in line with, schooling and everything like that. And all of a sudden he finds himself diving more and more into the crime world. And eventually he becomes this high-tech black market mercenary. And it's just the more enhancements, the more you can do. But they eventually take a toll on you. You can't just be completely overpowered without any downfall. So there is a risk involved. It was animated in a Japanese animation studio. So it is very visually stunning. Not only the action, but scenic shots in general. They really do a really good job. And if you played the game, which I mentioned earlier, you'll love it because they do have great world continuity. You know, certain characters are at least mentioned here or there. So it is really, really good. I loved it. And even if you're not an anime person, I still think you would enjoy it. You know, there's a little character development, not only between the main guy, but the crew that he joins, little love interest as well. And it really dives into how powerful, you know, hacking is in this new future. You know, everything's technology. Hackers are pretty much just, you know, kingpins.
So I'm just going to jump in real quick and say that I cannot believe I haven't watched this show yet because everything I've seen online is just completely glowing across the board. Is it dubbed or subbed? Like, is it American?
Honestly, that is a good question because I know it was animated in a Japanese studio, but for me, it was dubbed. I mean, it had English voice actors and it was great. I think there is the choice to listen to Japanese audio as well.
I'm fairly certain. Don't quote me on this, but I'm fairly certain the dub is how you're supposed to watch.
Yeah.
Like that's like the original.
I loved it. The voice acting is so much better.
This terrible comparison, but like Jaden Smith dropped an anime, but like it was all dubbed. You know, same kind of concept, I guess, as that.
Okay, Kathleen, I guess just speaking directly to you, this is probably more akin to Avatar: Last Airbender and Arcane than like hardcore Demon Slayer, One Piece, Naruto, you know,
right?
Because it is a little bit more about a story that's like I want to say Americanized a little bit. So, but I've heard amazing things, so I definitely want this on my. And I think Alki actually has watched this.
I think he has as well. Yes.
Netflix, you said, Paul?
10 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Satisfying conclusion. You know, honestly, you can binge it real quick.
Love that.
But why people were literally crying for season 2? They're like, please, like, give me it. And it's like, no, dude, it's wrapped up with a bow on it. Like, you don't need to extend it.
Stand by those resolves,
don't
producers. You know, don't force anything. Don't do it.
Hell yeah.
Yep, get out on top.
All right, I am going to popcorn over to Lean over there.
That's me. Wow. Okay. All right. So I was between a few, but I chose iZombie, which is a show that's like close to my heart and my soul. And I'm pretty sure I'm pitch towning this at some point. We've been so busy that we haven't been able to get pitch towns together, but man, do I love this show. So I chose it, and this is the type of show you watch it on Netflix. It was originally the CW back in like 2017 era when I was like the CW queen. It's a feel-good show, which is funny, but the drama is real, and it just hooked me so well. Like, I was hooked from the first second I watched it. Rose McIver plays Liv Moore, which is like funny because she's a zombie. Liv Moore, get it, Olivia Moore. And basically the premise is she is a med student or a resident, and she's like top of her class, kick ass. She decides for one day to let loose and go to a boat party where it just so happens that like an outbreak happens. People start killing each other. Most of the people from the outbreak have died, but Liv resurrects as a zombie. Okay. So no one knows that zombies exist. This is a world where nobody thinks this is happening. So Liv quits her job at the hospital, gets a job at the morgue because she's craving brains, right? So where else to get brains than a morgue? So these dead bodies come in. She does the autopsies. She eats their brain. Now, this is the kicker. She eats their brain and basically becomes them. She changes her personality. She changes the way she acts, the way she talks. And then she has visions from their brain. Like, she can see the way she died. So she's like a crime fighter. Like, she helps the police. Now, let me tell you this cast, okay? Rose McIver recently was on Ghosts, which was on one of like CBS or ABC or something like that. That ran a few seasons, but I met her and she's a delight. She's an absolute delight. I drove 2 hours to meet her by myself at a Heroes Villains Con. But second is Malcolm Goodwin, who plays what's his name in Fall of the House of Usher, the detective. Augie, yes. Yeah. Absolute fucking star. He's in a bunch of other stuff too. Rahul Kohli, an absolute slay. This is like his breakout role. He is so divine, and he is Liv's boss in the morgue. So like those two are just like thick as thieves. And spoiler alert, like he he clocks it immediately that she's a zombie. He's like full in. He loves it. He's like helping her. It's so fun. Robert Buckley, who is just like a dreamboat from One Tree Hill. So any One Tree Hill people. And then my queen, Ali Michalka from Ali and AJ fame, who is just a 10 out of 10 stunner in this show. But this is like a show where it's 5 seasons, so you have to commit, but it's only like, I don't know, 12 episodes a season or something like that. So it's not that big of a commitment, but of course it's not like a 1 season quick thing like we've been pitching, but it's worth it. It's so fun, and watching Rose McIver become these characters is like an actor's dream. You just know they're having so much fun, and then of course like it's one of my favorite things, and it was Supergirl, and it's Arrow, and it's The Flash, where they're a superhero, but none of their loved ones knows they're a superhero. So then you are waiting for the reveals to all the loved ones. Like Allie's her best friend, Robert's her boyfriend, who she breaks up with because she doesn't. It's like a STD. If you fuck, you become a zombie, so you don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like any kind of scratch or anything, which is how she got it. She got scratched. And there's a great villain in it. It's awesome. Like, I really think it's worth it. I know it was on the CW, but I'm like super passionate about that show. And it has a absolute great theme song that you'll be singing, just like Winona or anybody, like all these, like this, like great.
I know it has.
Oh, I love it so much.
I have been.
I was sorry.
Go ahead, Paul.
The following behind iZombie is absolutely crazy for a show that's been done for a bit now, and it's all the actors that you said are like stars now. So even when they were like
stars
up and coming in the beginning, they are absolute studs. So I can only imagine the quality. I'm sure it's wonderful.
Yeah, chemistry is phenomenal between them two. They love each other.
I have so many times almost clicked play on that show just because she reminds me of Clark Griffin from The 100 a little bit, just like like it looks like such a fun show, right up our alley too, of just those CW hidden gems, which is the title of the episode, so it works out
right.
I definitely want to watch it one day. I just need to click play, and I'm sure that it'll just be fun, and it'll just take over.
It's charming. It's good. I would recommend it to anybody. It's just, it does take the click to get there, because it's like the picture is so funny. She's just like sitting next to a brain. And also every episode she eats the brain in a fun way. She like prepares the brain in like a theme of the episode, which is just like cute and quirky, which I love.
Nice.
So good. Okay. All right, Dave, I'm take us home, baby. I forgot I had the popcorn, but it's all you.
It's probably good that I went last, because we're coming in with a little asterisk potentially for this one. Maybe 3 people I know haven't seen this yet. Well, I know Kathleen has.
Yeah.
There's one. Anyone else? We're going with How to Get Away with Murder
Emily
here, guys.
has,
Paul,
so
Luke.
I've seen some episodes. Okay.
Oh,
Is that in your life? Oh, my girlfriend. Oh, no.
I don't know her.
Yeah, no, I hate her, so it doesn't count. But the only reason we're going to count this in here is because it aired in 2014 on ABC, but all the seasons and episodes can be found on Netflix now. So for those who were back in 2014, strictly streaming options, this is your opportunity to kind of hop onto this. Kind of similar to Kathleen with the murder mystery in the part 1 with School Spirit. This is another murder mystery here. We have Annalise Keaton, who is the main character. She's a defense attorney and a law professor at a prestigious Philadelphia school. You guessed it.
Yeah, baby.
And she oversees 5 students who essentially just get entangled in a murder plot, if you could guess that from the title of this the show. But for me, I've always loved thriller murder mystery plots, Mindhunter, Knives Out, now True Detective to add to the list. And this is one that I binged very quickly. I think when season 4 came out is when I fully caught up. And this was just one of those shows like The Magicians that I vividly remember. 3 a.m. just staying up till like work at 8 a.m. the next day. I'm staying up all night to make sure I'm getting all the content and episodes, because I want to know how it ends. This was just a fantastic show, just because it's such an interesting perspective watching the main character, Annalise Keaton, who I forgot to mention is Viola Davis, if you didn't know.
Slay.
But yeah, it's a very interesting perspective watching her and her students use their knowledge of the law to kind of get out of trouble that they find themselves in, while also getting themselves into trouble. They're all very great actors. It's a very star-studded cast as well. Again, it's 6 seasons, and I wouldn't recommend watching this if you're not in the right headspace because it is a very dark show. So I would just say, watching this show can be a little real, but otherwise, if you're into these kind of dramas and murder mysteries, absolutely watch it. Every season on Rotten Tomatoes, audience and critic are a minimum of 80%. So season 1, just to give an example, 84 critic, 86 audience. I'll skip to season 4, 100% critic score, 80% audience. Season 5, which was high, like maybe not on Rotten Tomatoes website makes this clear, but I think season 5 is ultimately the most favorited season, and it's 86-90. So I wouldn't say this show put her on the map, but it definitely brought out the best acting qualities of Viola Davis, and I think this is just one of her best roles that she's ever portrayed in anything that I've seen. I absolutely love this show. It's completed. I think it finished back in 2019, maybe kind of recently. But just something, again, that's just so unique. It's just a different perspective with how you have law students now engaging in these acts that they don't mean to find themselves in, but now they have to twist the law and, just find magical ways to get out of these precarious situations. And I just think it's one of the best shows. Again, maybe not a hidden gem, but definitely worth watching if you're into those kinds of shows. Absolutely.
I'll just say I watched it live, all 6 seasons. It'll stress you to your core. Like it really will. It's the classic thing where like they get into trouble, so they cause more trouble to fix that trouble, but now they're in trouble for that trouble that they caused. And it's just like a domino effect of ruining their lives. And it's definitely amazing. When I can't believe that threat came out of Dave's mouth. It's so funny. I'm obsessed. But I would recommend that to anybody. It's a great drama and it's a amazing murder. It really is a murder mystery too. So it's great TV. It's really good. We all did our 4. Anything else to add? Like we did last time, is anyone willing to watch one of the shows someone picked?
I would put Dracula real high up on my list just because 3 episodes and done. Like I already talked about the actors that you guys talked about, and their repertoire is insane. So I'm really excited to fill my next stunt of boredom with incredible TV.
I'll be honest. I've added Dracula and Cyberpunk. The only reason I'm saving iZombie because I'm waiting for that pitch count. I would like to be on it, so I'm not even going to include it on the list because it's already going to be just something that we're going to do, and I'm not even worried about it. So
I liked all 3 of the recommendations from part 2 here, where they could all be added to my list: Cyberpunk, iZombie, and How to Get Away with Murder.
Yeah. All right, cool. So if you guys like that, of course, we're going to come out with stuff like this all the time. This is super fun for us. And we're always watching shows, so we always have stuff to talk about. So go follow us at BingetownTV. If you're listening on one of our other feeds, BingetownTV is where you can find all the episodes we drop. We drop every single one on there. BingetownTV.com we have so many shows, like Luke said, we've been doing for 4 hours. 4 years. We've been at it for 4 hours.
Dedication.
So
A long
we're
4
pretty good
hours.
at this. 4 years. So there's a ton of shows, but you can go on our website and you can literally look at every single show we've covered in some capacity. It'll show up there. So it's easier to weed through instead of scrolling for 4 hours on Spotify. But yeah, show us a subscribe on wherever you listen. Right now, we're covering The Traitors on Peacock, which is amazing. We're covering Percy Jackson, we're covering Reacher, we're covering True Detective, we're covering a couple animes.
Solo
Remind
Leveling.
me of the 2.
Mm-hmm.
Solo Leveling, and then we're the
Jujutsu
one with the
Kaisen,
J
but that
and the one with the Y.
Jujutsu
Yeah.
Kaisen, that
Hakusho was
ended,
the other
but
Okay.
check it
out. Yeah.
You can clearly
Perfect.
tell
So-
who watches anime in this group.
Yeah. I did Arcane, but whatever. We've got range, so I'm sure that's something we've covered you'll like. But like Luke said on the last episode, come join our Discord. That's where we can talk like real time, when shows are airing. Super fun, just to have like a community. But that's the episode. We are BingetownTV, and thanks for listening.